for watching our presentation today. We'll be discussing recommendations that Group as a collective have created in order to take ACN from red ocean to deep blue oceans, increasing profitability and members in their community. Through the research conducted, it was discovered that diagnosis rates of those on the spectrum is increasing. More specifically, there was a 25.1% increase of those diagnosed from 2015 to 2018. That's a major increase. However, despite the increasing number, employment rates for those on the spectrum are relatively low. Those diagnosed require assistance with communication, meaning they need a tailored employment opportunity that suits their needs to allow them to excel and succeed with an inclusive environment. These unresolved issues is what the Blue Ocean strategies are based on in order to tap into uncontested marketplace. The recommended strategies include expanding into second for-profit organization through an education service for organizations. The profits from these sessions would be put back into ACN's original not-for-profit business to ensure it retains its family-oriented grassroots background. A secondary idea would be to utilize a more advanced technology through the creation of an autism-friendly communication app. The idea is a great point of differentiation from other autism service providers, as there is no similar service on the market at the moment. This would provide an incentive for parents and carers of individuals on the spectrum to join ACN over other large service providers. Both these incentives will aim to increase revenue and profits, increase brand awareness and membership, and lead to better use of employee time and resources. Now passing on to Veronica to explain recommendation 1 in more detail.
The first Blue Ocean recommendation is for ACN to implement an educational service. This service will be provided by ACN to workplaces with the aim of educating both employers and employees to better deal with individuals on the spectrum. Once the training has been completed, workplaces will gain a verification, which can be considered an act of CSR. The verification will allow those on the spectrum to find workplaces that will accept them, providing comfort and ease with seeking employment. Further, it communicates the business's intent to learn about and aim to improve the lives of those on the spectrum. The service will have various customizable options to allow workplaces to attain a higher level of satisfaction with their service. The service is available to any workplace and can be delivered initially at the workplace to save costs, but has the potential to be held in function centers depending on size and budget of the workplace. ACN currently offers free volunteer-led services to their clients. This is not a viable long-term business model, as hardworking staff need to be paid for their work, and in order to grow, ACN needs to increase profitability. Providing an outstanding educational service, ACN is working towards improving employment rates for those on the spectrum by giving employers and employees the tools and knowledge needed to better understand how to work with them. This for-profit service should be unique in order to differentiate itself from competitors. The following tools, the Eliminate, Reduce, Raise, Create Grid, and Strategy Canvas, aim to communicate how this recommendation is Blue Ocean focused. To make this strategy Blue Ocean, ACN should consider implementing a set of customizable options to allow companies to attain a certain level of control over the service they acquire. Some of these options can include personalized services catered towards the specific industry, which will allow for more than just a basic understanding of autism, by providing more practical-based knowledge. Other options can include duration of training, location, with the potential for online training for low-budget companies. Where possible, the training days will feature a guest speaker on the spectrum to give some real-life insight. Further, ACN will provide each workplace with a personalized resource pack containing things such as information sheets and a transition to work program for school leavers and members of the ACN community. This has the capacity to help workplaces attract and retain employees on the spectrum, which will ultimately improve employment rates and increase opportunities for those on the spectrum.
For the purposes of this task, ACN's implementation, control program, and marketing budget is $1 million Australian dollars. We recommend ACN market this educational service through advertisements on its website as well as other websites, marketing emails to organizations, social media ads, and through word of mouth amongst its members. The average cost of advertising on Google Ads is $2.32 per click, and the average cost per action is $59.18. On average, small businesses using online Google advertising spend between $9,000 and $10,000 per month on online advertising campaigns, which equates to $100,000 to $200,000 per year. We recommend ACN budget $100,000 on Google Ads annually, as well as utilizing free advertising on the ACN website and word of mouth for the education service. Additionally, ACN would advertise to organizations and managers on LinkedIn. On average, businesses pay $5.26 per click and $6.59 per 1,000 impressions on LinkedIn. Thus, ACN should aim for $50,000 towards LinkedIn ads. ACN must also take into account the cost of operating these educational services into the budget. We recommend a presenter's salary of $70,000 annually. The cost of printouts, including paper and ink, rent of space, and certificates will need to be considered, and we estimate a cost of $10 per attendee. The service will be billed based on the audience number as shown in the table below. To incentivize smaller companies who do not have the funding for an event of this cost, online seminars and modules is recommended. This would be pre-recorded and not tailored to each individual company for $1,000. To ensure ACN does not go over budget, we recommend hiring a finance manager or outsourcing this role to an external company, budgeting around $100,000 for this service. By implementing a finance manager, Steve could better use his time and expertise interacting with autistic individuals, families to increase membership. The key future objective of this recommendation is to host a yearly function whereby multiple companies can attend a single educational training day. Additionally, to improve employment rates to those on the spectrum and provide another source of revenue for ACN. Key success factors would include providing effective training, education, an enjoyable and memorable service, and creating more employment opportunities for those on the spectrum. These can be measured by asking clients to undertake a survey detailing their experience. This would allow ACN to understand whether or not the service is effective and will allow necessary adjustments to be made. To measure if employment has increased, ACN can reach out to companies directly for an easier and more general measurement.
So now I'll talk about the benefits of our recommendations for ACN and how they will help ACN meet their objectives. So we are aware that Steve currently spends a lot of his time being a guest speaker at events with the aim of raising awareness and revenue for ACN. We believe these guest speaker events are a great initiative as listeners get first-hand information from a parent of a child with autism, as well as the founder of such a successful organisation. However, we do believe the current business model is not viable in the long term, as Steve is very overworked and receives mostly personal satisfaction back from these free of charge events. So therefore, we have drawn on Steve's current success and recommended a paid education service that ACN will deliver to organisations. This recommendation adopts the ERRC and Strategy Canvas Blue Ocean strategies to ensure this idea is differentiated from Aspect, who provide shorter and more service level presentations. So ACN's employees will deliver the information from a personal and more experienced background, whilst tailoring specific strategies and recommendations to each individual organisation. So this second arm fee-for-service model will benefit ACN in many ways, including increasing its brand awareness, leading to a growth in membership and the increased likelihood of word-of-mouth referrals, and increased awareness for autism more broadly, increased revenues and profits, which will ultimately be put back into ACN's original not-for-profit business to maintain its grassroots and family-orientated feel, expand ACN's employee base to relieve Steve and Amy of their heavy workloads, to educate organisations on how to safely accommodate those on the spectrum in their organisations. So, for example, this could be through teaching organisations how to amend their recruitment process, which will allow them to better showcase the talents of those on the spectrum, or to teach employees how to effectively work and communicate with these individuals. ACN could offer paid opportunities for ACN employees beyond the guest speaking events through the follow-up support sessions and the task of designing personalized strategies for each organization. So each ACN employee will receive an annual salary of $100,000, and we came up with this figure based on the average salary for a motivational speaker. So just to continue with the benefits, ACN will also increase employment opportunities for those on the spectrum, which will aim to decrease unemployment. It will achieve partnerships with external organisations. So this will be an opportunity for funding and sponsorship in the future. It will provide an opportunity to present to interstate or international companies through the Streams pre-recorded education option. So these would cost $1,000 and they'd be available to watch an unlimited number of times throughout a 6-week period. And they will still provide the handouts and the certificate on completion for all the attendees and for the organisation. So for the in-person events, the organisation will be charged in brackets based on the number of attendees. So in total, this recommendation will equate to approximately $450,000 of the total $1 million budget that ACN has, as shown on the screen in the graph by the light blue.
The second Blue Ocean strategy is a social media communication app. This is an ACN-run app that is free for download on any iOS device, with the potential to be made available on all mobile devices. The app aims to create a safe space for members of ACN, specifically those on the spectrum, to interact and connect. ACN members will have full access to the app's features when they log in with their member details. Non-members and the general public will have limited access. This ensures a level of safety and privacy is maintained, while also giving an incentive for public users to join ACN's community. By witnessing the community in action on a public online space, the public, such as people on the spectrum, parents, and teachers who are interested in learning about and supporting the community, will want to join. The app will be profitable through the use of ads. These ads will not be aggressive and will not hinder the user experience. The app features communication channels such as chat rooms, video and audio calling, group calls, photo sharing, personalized profile pages, and much more. All members of ACN will be able to post a variety of things, from information, questions, happy or proud moments, photos, and videos. This essentially makes communicating a fun and enjoyable experience. The app will benefit professionals, such as teachers, since they can ask questions on the forum and read about other people's experiences. The 4 Actions framework aims to communicate how this recommendation is considered Blue Ocean. More specifically, the app can be considered a Blue Ocean recommendation since it raises the buyer value element of a strong sense of community through the social media platform. It reduces the buyer value element of the number of people that have full access to the app's features. It creates the buyer value element of a moderated and safe, reputable platform. And lastly, it eliminates the buyer value element of unnecessary features found on broad social media platforms.
For the design and development of ACN's social media app, this recommendation takes into consideration the remaining budget set by the task. In Australia, it costs $50,000 to $100,000 to design and develop a simple app, averaging at about $75,000. With these initial costs, ACN is looking at an annual maintenance cost of $20,000 per year. Thus, ACN should aim to spend roughly $95,000 in the first year of the app's development and $20,000 thereafter. We recommend ACN outsource the UX and UI design to a coding company that specializes in app design. As the app will mostly be composed of internal users, members, family, carers, and teachers, the app needs minimal advertising. The download link for the app will be on the ACN website, which will direct them to the App Store for download, which will be at no cost to ACN. In terms of the prospect of growing ACN into a national and potentially global network, advertising and targeting those part of autism Facebook groups would be the best strategy for ACN to reach its audience. Further objectives include expanding ACN across Australia, and interactive online platforms such as this app would be an effective first step. People across Australia will have access to the app's functions, connecting people from all over the nation in a convenient and effective manner. A success factor would be app downloads from all around Australia using the app analytics and tracking tools. Raising revenue for ACN is another objective which this recommendation can achieve. A success factor would be to earn a revenue from the app while keeping the app free. In-app advertisements will create a profit for ACN, becoming another revenue stream. This can be measured by tracking the profit through analytics. However, the main objective of this app is to continue to develop and allow those on the spectrum to have a safe space to communicate.
So the second recommendation is an ACN-based social media app. So we have acknowledged that those on the spectrum have difficulty communicating, or they just prefer communicating with those that are familiar to them. So therefore, we have built on ACN's social events through the development of this app. It aims to provide a safe, moderated, and easy to navigate tool for ACN's members and their parents or carers to communicate. So they'll be able to communicate via voice messages, video calls, or by sharing photos. So there is also a forum page for individuals looking to be educated on autism, which builds on our first education idea of raising awareness. This recommendation adopts the Blue Ocean ideas of the 4 Actions framework, as it will be more valuable for those on the spectrum compared to existing social media apps, which may be hard to use or a bit overwhelming, like Facebook and Instagram. So this idea will benefit the users immensely, and therefore will have a positive flow-on effect for ACN as a company. So the benefits can include revenue opportunities through tailored ads that will display on the app that will be related to autism and general disabilities. Increased awareness for ACN and autism more broadly. So this could also mean that members of other autism service providers could find this app beneficial and download it and start to use it as well. So it's not very restrictive to only ACN members. The ability for ACN to offer its members further social interaction opportunities, so beyond their existing social events. It will reduce the barriers of ACN set activity times and provide more flexibility for the attendees. It will offer an opportunity for education through the forums on the app. It will be an opportunity for parents to connect with others from different areas, and it will provide them with the opportunity to share stories or see who is attending different events or whose children are attending. And will provide the potential to hold large online events or education via the app. So as you can see, in terms of the budget, it would cost approximately $80,000 to design the app and $20,000 in maintenance costs per year. So therefore, we are saying that ACN should aim to spend no more than $100,000 in the first year of the app's development, as shown by the dark blue on the graph on the screen, and $20,000 every year thereafter. So as our 2 ideas only utilise $550,000 of ACN's $1 million budget, it would provide the scope to make improvements or changes in the future, which will be funded by the remaining $450,000 as shown in the grey on the graph. So this is why ACN should be open to any feedback and constantly monitor what is successful within the market to adapt to consumer needs.
With ACN goals, the issues within the industry and the phased research of demand conditions, competitor analysis, supplier intermediaries, and the current Australian marketplace of the Autism Community Network taken into consideration, there are 2 recommendations ACN should consider. The first being an educational service provided by ACN to companies with the aims of educating and increasing employment rates for those on the spectrum. The second recommendation should be using a social media app which aims to create a safe and fun environment for members to communicate, while also being a platform for parents and the public to connect. We have proven through multiple models of the Blue Ocean strategies that these recommendations are viable and effective in reaching ACN's goals of revenue and awareness.
Thank you for watching our presentation.